Hi my friends from Merida. I am Talleyrand. And I was an important role during the French Revolution, so I am going to tell you what really happened. In 1789, poor people in the capital of France, Paris, were tired of their unhappy lives. Many did not have enough food to give to their children. Everything was expensive, but there was no work for them to earn the money they needed for a home. There were no schools for their children, because the government did not think they needed to learn to read or write. But, at the same time, the aristocrats had millions. They lived in luxurious houses in Paris and had others' houses in the countryside. They wore coats that cost more than poor families earned in a year and ate dinners in one evening that could pay for families to eat for months. King Louis XVI lived with his Austrian queen, Marie Antoinette, in a wonderful palace built by his grandfather in Versailles. You can still visit it today. It has beautiful gardens and the walls of the palace are covered with gold, mirrors and pictures. The king and queen spent their evenings dancing and planning new gardens. They did not seem to know or, maybe, to care about the poor. In France, however, things were changing. The bourgeois class was getting more control of the business world. They were also reading new ideas about government. The poor were hungry and France had no money. King Louis XVI spent a lot of money on wars and there was nothing left. In July, the people of Paris attacked the Bastille. This was a huge castle. The king used it as a prison. The soldiers did not fight the people. Actually, some joined them. The people entered the Bastille and set free all the prisoners. They then burnt it. A group of leaders also wrote an important document. It explained about every French person's rights. Then, in October, they walked to the king's palace in Versailles and took him and his queen to Paris. In 1792, the people made France a republic and, the next year, they cut off his head. The Republican regimen was called the Convention and was controlled first by a moderate group, the Girondins, but the revolution took a radical direction and the Jacobins got the power. They were more radical and established a dictatorship based on the ferocious repression. For this reason, it was called the Terror regime. The most important leader of the period was Robespierre, who controlled the Committee of Public Safety, and he sent hundreds of people to the guillotine. However, the Jacobins took measures to improve the living conditions of the poorest people in France, peasants and workers, as the minimum wage or the control of the grain prices. Also, they stopped slavery in their empire and attacked Germany, Holland, Belgium and Italy, starting a war against Europe. This war was continued by Napoleon, who got the power after the Republican period and became Emperor of France. The French army won all the wars, and their ideas about the rights of the people traveled all over Europe with them until the final defeat of Napoleon in Waterloo. Today, the French Revolution is still important. It sent a message to kings and governments all over the world that they needed to work for the people.